We'll get into the charts, all that kind of stuff. Main focus today going to be Bitcoin, Ethereum. Real quick, want to give a shout out to the sponsors of these videos. As you guys know, I've been working with PrimeXBT for a very long time now. They've supported me doing these streams, putting out all this content for free for you guys. So if you enjoy watching these videos, you want to support me, the best way for you to do that is to use the link in the description and then type in code Mayne50 before depositing any money, and you're eligible for a 7% deposit bonus to a maximum deposit of 100 grand. You deposit 100 grand, you get a $7,000 bonus. You guys want to help me out? Make an account on Prime, put some money in there, start trading. You can trade equities, right? You can trade the SPX, you can trade gold, you can trade silver, you can trade Forex pairs, all on Prime with no KYC and with crypto as collateral. So that's pretty cool. So if you're wondering for a way to trade some of the things I talk about that aren't just purely crypto, Prime is the place to do that. So let's get into the video. I've got a pretty good idea of what I think may happen this week. We obviously have FOMC coming up this week. So if you guys always remember that website I take you to, right? Forex Factory, you hit calendar, okay? And then you see all the economic events. The color of the folder denotes kind of the level of impact. So red, high impact. We as crypto traders, we want to be focused primarily on USD news, right? So you have the impact level and you have the currency. So we go down here, you can click on this little folder here. You can get a little bit more info. So they're going to be discussing interest rates. Are they going to raise the rates, cut the rates? What is going to happen? Why is this relevant? Well, generally, we have followed the stock market very closely. And what you've seen is when the rates are not raised as much as we had thought or raised less than last time, or even if they're kept the same, the hike is the same amount, it's generally giving us a pop in the stock market, right? A little bit of a push. With what's going on with the banking system right now, now we have Credit Suisse in a bit of turmoil. You know, I think there's going to be a lot of pressure on the Fed to help mitigate some of this damage, right? Because they don't want to have some catastrophe and massive, failures across the board on banks. Good chance that, a lot of this money gets backstopped by the federal government. They just print more. But also a good chance that perhaps they slow down the rate hikes, which would in turn allow some relief of the situation. Obviously, inflation is still high, so the best way they know how to bring inflation down is through these rate hikes. They're still not at the terminus rate, but we have to figure out, what's going to happen in the short term here, because that's probably going to have an effect on crypto. You have to remember, a lot of these banks, like Silver Bank, right? That one that went down, that kind of started this chain of events here. They had a ton of bonds purchased at a much lower interest rate than the bonds are trading at now, right? And that's a function of what's going on to tighten up inflation. Bond yields go up, the stock market goes down. So what does this mean for crypto? What does this mean for Bitcoin? So right now there's a bit of a narrative that Bitcoin is trading as a proxy to gold. So Bitcoin, and I talked about this in the last video, Bitcoin is that flight to safety. It is the thing that, hey, when people are not confident in the banks, they need crypto. They need Bitcoin. So it's interesting, and it's, I think, positive that Bitcoin is pumping amidst all of this turmoil. I still don't think necessarily that we have decoupled from the stock market. I think the fact that there was a little bit of a dislocation doesn't mean that that's going to be a permanent thing. The majority of the time over the last couple of years, we've been very much in lockstep with stocks, and I think that will likely continue. But hey, it's nice to see. Gold does look like it's preparing to run all-time highs. Silver looks extremely bullish. The dollar looks kind of bearish. So these are good things for crypto, potentially. Now, last stream, we were here, Monday the 13th. Here, this candle was last stream. I talked about these equal highs. I'm like, there's no way these equal highs hold. No way these equal highs hold. I think we blast through and we trade higher. 28 to 30K has been the numbers that I've been, sharing. We even got a nice little retest there, and bang, where have we topped out so far? Just above 28K at 28,245. So I get that kind of 28 to 30K zone from the higher time frame here, right? We have this fair value gap right here, the midpoint of which is at 28,000. And then the high is just under 30,000. And we also have this weekly bearish order block. This is the up candle before the down move that sent us into this bottoming period. So we're into resistance now, absolutely, in my opinion. Now, how much higher can we go? Are we going to pull back? If we do pull back, how far is it going to be? I'm going to cover a variety of different situations here that I think are possible. So let's start with the bullish discussion, because everyone likes to be a bull. Being a bull is just better in general. I do believe that this is a significant range breakout. Now, generally, after seeing a breakout of this magnitude, right? So you have to look at the timing of this, right? The longer time sideways usually means the bigger move to the upside or downside, depending if it's accumulation or distribution, right? 273 days down here in this sideways period in this range, right? Remember this range, 270 days traded above the high, down to the low, back to the high, to the mid range, big spike, and now we're pushing up. I do believe that there is potential for this to trade much higher. You look at the super high time frame here. This is your monthly swing, really, from here to here. Could we trade up to, you know, the EQ of this? Heck, if you take this entire range, I don't think it's out of the question at all that we could trade up into here. You have a monthly bearish order block there, and you have the EQ of the range. I know this is a huge range, but this is completely possible, and then we could go down again. But after this long of sideways and then a significant breakout, the weekly candle looks amazing, right? That weekly candle there is amazing. Huge close through the highs. I think there's a chance we can go much higher. Now, what you have to be aware of is the potential for a pullback first before higher prices, rather than just going up from here. Now, I personally don't really want us to spend any time back below these previous highs here, right? So the range high effectively, right, is here. Maybe we dip below, but I really don't want to see us get back below here and hold, because then you start thinking, oh shit, maybe this was just a deviation and we're actually going to trade down to the bottom of the range again, right? So we don't really want to see that. Generally, on large range breakouts like this, like if you go here, you don't always get the super deep retest that you want. This traded way higher and then it gave you the retest. So I think the most bullish situation is that the retest is shallow. Maybe a quick spike, maybe it dips below the former range high, but only briefly. And the spike is relatively shallow, relatively quick. So that's the ideal situation. I don't really want to see this come back and trade to 20K. I don't really want this to stay below 25K for any significant period of time. On the weekly chart here, we have a breaker. This is the up candle for a down move that blew out stops, and now we traded up. So this would be an area I would be looking to get long in. It's confluent with that former range high. So if we get some sort of move back into here, and then I see some lower time frame signs of bullishness, right? You guys know what I like to see. I'm looking to long that. If we get a pullback here, I don't know if it will come this deep. It doesn't have to come this deep. I'm going to go on but this is the most relevant area. You also have a weekly order block right there. This is the most relevant area on the weekly. Now we might go down to the 12-hour, the daily, the 4-hour, and there might be levels that are in here, and that might be it. Okay, so that is possible, but from a high time frame perspective, this is the area where I would be looking for something bullish to happen. Within this weekly breaker, this weekly order block, I would want to see the bull step in there. That's an area that I would look for reasons to get long with more spot, because I still have some dry powder, and leverage. Obviously, it doesn't have to go that deep. It can be shallow, but this is the area that I'm watching. And then obviously we're looking to trade up into the weekly order block here first, because maybe we just consolidate here and then pop up and then dump. Anything can happen, right? So again, I always say this, I'm not trying to predict 5 moves in advance and when we're going to trade to 42,000. I want to say, what is the most likely next direction for price? Personally, I think down a bit makes the most sense, and then back up. So can I find a trade from here to here? And then can I find a trade from here to here? Forget about 5 moves ahead, right? What is the next most likely direction that price is going to go? That's what I want to concern myself with. So on the weekly time frame, my weekly view is exactly that. Okay. This is the area that I'm looking to see defended on the weekly chart. As Z's in the chat saying deviation, totally possible, right? So totally possible that this is a deviation. Literally anything can fucking happen. So I like to try and lay out, as you guys know, if this, then that scenarios. If this happens, I'm gonna do that. If that happens, I'm gonna do this. And that is how I operate. It's not like, hey, has to do this and then has to go up. Because what happens if it doesn't go down, but then I see a long signal on, the medium time frame? Am I gonna just ignore that because it didn't come to my area? Of course not. Mark areas where you think price will be sensitive to and where you want to do business, and you have the ability to make a plan around those areas, a reclaim, a stop run, whatever it is, whatever your system is. Find the areas that you want to do business, and then you wait for price to interact with those areas, and then you react accordingly. It's not about prediction, it's about reaction, right? I personally would love a chance to buy here, but I do believe, regardless of whether this holds or not, this is my next area of interest. I don't really want to see us trade below this range high for very long. If we start holding below here and putting in bearish market structure, I'm going to short the shit out of this and assume that was just a deviation. I'm going to target new lows. Okay, so I don't really want to see that. Obviously, I'd much rather everything go up and everyone remain happy, but we'll have to wait and see. So let's get in on the lower time frames here. We have a 12-hour order block right here that price is trading in right now. So if we see something bullish on the H1, you guys know I like to trade the H12, the H1, I might consider hopping in along here. Okay, so this is all I really see on the 12-hour chart. This order block here, this order block is confluent with that weekly break or weekly order block down here, right? We have a fair value gap here as well in the 12. But if I see something bullish on this lower time frame in this area, I'm not gonna not long, right? If it makes sense and I see a setup I like, I'll take it. And this is exactly what I mean. I would like to see us come back to here. But if we don't and something bullish occurs in here, I'm willing to get in. And that's that shallower pullback idea. And then maybe one more spike. So what I see on the 12-hour, I'm actually gonna go down to the hourly now. What I see is very clear here. We ran this high, broke down. We ran this high, and this is now the relevant low. So I'm just marking off really, right? These are just breakers. So we have kind of like a double confirmation here for shorts. You could have shorted this SFP, but you have a lot more confidence in this second one. If we get below here, what I would want to see is a very quick reclaim of this level. And that might be something I would consider longing. Because if we break and close below here and we stay below here, I think that it's likely that we then are going to take out these lows and potentially fill in down to here. So this 27,450 area is very key in my opinion. I'll be watching this low and seeing what happens. If we sweep it and then reclaim, I'll get long, right? That's exactly what I meant when I was on the 12-hour. If I see something bullish in here, if we sweep one of these lows and put in a big bullish SFP or something like that, I will then long it. But if we are bearish, we broke a high, broke low, took out the high. If we break low again and just keep selling off, I think you could probably take a short on some sort of breakdown here, targeting all of these lows here, and then maybe even back into 25,200 in that weekly order block. The other thing I could see potentially happening from here, right, is within this 12-hour order block, we sweep like this, we get another move above the high, and then a big sell-off. So I know I'm laying out a bunch of different scenarios. How do I actually manage having multiple scenarios, right? So how do I manage multiple scenarios? Usually I'll have multiple chart layouts and I will mark up each of them and I will set my alerts. So I'm going to have an alert here and I'll probably have an alert at this low. Then on one of my chart setups, I'm going to be looking for an SFP. On another one, I'm going to be looking for a break and close below and a short. And on another one, I'll probably mark the highs and say, okay, maybe we run the highs and then I'll see what happens up here. So I'll alert the highs. So I have 3 different scenarios and I will then have to monitor them. If this happens, then I do that, right? So now I have those parameters set. If we sweep this low, then I look to long. If we break this low and continue to put in bearish market structure, I look to short. Very simple stuff. I lay out the plan and I wait and see. We also have Monday's range to now work with, and that Monday's range lines up very well with the ideas that I just laid out. We could sweep this low, or we could sweep Monday's low and then trade back in. If we sweep Monday's high and then get back in, I'll look to short. So I'm leaning towards more downside, but I'm going to wait and see. I'm going to let price tell me what it wants to do. I'm not going to force anything. I'm not going to force anything. I'm just going to let price do its thing, and I'm going to wait for it to get into an area of interest for me, which is above here or below here or below here. Okay, because once we interact with the area that I'm interested in, then I can execute on the plan, whatever I think might be the most likely outcome. Again, and we don't know. I could be completely wrong, right? This could just roll over and not give me an entry. This could just pump from here and go to 32,000, right? So you have to be prepared to be wrong, and you have to realize that it's not the end of the world. You're not gonna get every prediction right. You're not gonna get every trade right. You can get half of them right, close to half, and you have proper risk reward, you're gonna make money. So that's kind of my plan right now for Bitcoin. I'm not in a position currently. I'm waiting and seeing, do we push up? Do we break down? I do think that this is quite an important FOMC meeting. So I wouldn't be surprised if I just end up not taking any trades until after it's over and we kind of get that direction. So hopefully everyone's clear on the BTC plan, right? I've marked out the areas of interest, weekly area of interest, 12-hour area of interest, and then how I plan on executing based on this zone and the 1-hour chart, which is my execution time frame. Here's your key low to watch initially, and then Monday's low, and let's wait and see what happens, okay? Now, something that might be confluent with Bitcoin trading higher before lower is the picture on equities here. If you guys remember, we caught down here as a reason to get bullish. Said I'm targeting this fair value gap, pushed up, got a rejection. I said, okay, now I want to see a bounce from this 12-hour order block. That's what we're seeing. We're now trading right around Monday's high. To me, this kind of looks like inducement, right? You have these highs, relatively equal highs right here. I wouldn't be surprised if price pushes through those up to maybe 40.20 and then back below Monday's high, target 1, target 2, then potentially the range low. So this is a kind of scenario I'm looking at on ES right now. A push up above these highs, and then if it gets back within Monday's range, I would look to short this thing down. I think what's nice about this as well is, let's say we get that push up from semi-positive FOMC news, right, about rates, spikes up, then breaks down after, and the direction is revealed as down, or maybe it goes the other way. I don't know. If we flip this fair value gap, if this fair value gap gets flipped and we start trading above 40.40, then I would target higher prices. I would target up here, and I would target up into this order block as well. But for now, I think my plan is move up here, and then if we get some weakness, start breaking down, I'm looking to get into a short back into Monday's range. So that could be confluent with Bitcoin potentially making another high before breaking down. We'll have to see. The correlation has been not as tight lately, right? Bitcoin looks a little bit more like gold than it does stocks right now. But I still think if we get a move, a significant move on the stock market, I do think Bitcoin will respond. So let's look at Ethereum here quickly. Ethereum looks worse than Bitcoin. So again, FBTC is bearish as shit right now. Looks like it wants to trade down to the range lows. If that happens and we keep trading down and the whole market rolls over, ETH is probably going to fall harder than Bitcoin. So we are still within this range on Ethereum. Bitcoin broken out. Ethereum has not. So that's shown in the FBTC chart, right? This is trending down. Ethereum is lagging behind Bitcoin. It is still in this range. Well, Bitcoin is not. So we're still trading within this range here. We do have a nice weekly SFP here. And the same as Bitcoin, we have a weekly breaker. Ethereum being weaker than Bitcoin, it's in its breaker now, whereas Bitcoin put in a leg higher and still hasn't retested it. So I think it's worth watching Ethereum in this area here if we see something bullish. Remember, we drew this zone and then I had the arrow to 2K from here, bang. So I would have liked to have seen, if Bitcoin is near a high, at least temporarily, I thought Ethereum would be higher. I want to see Ethereum trade to 2K. So that's why I was hoping that this was going to catch a bid and then maybe Ethereum gets to move up. So this is going to be one to watch. Definitely a good proxy for altcoins as well. But zooming in on the 12 hours, so we have this 12-hour trading range here, this low to this high. Ideally, if you want to long Ethereum, I want to either long on a break out of the range or I want to long in the lower part of the range. So if the whole market nukes and it rolls over, I think Ethereum probably trades down to this range low. And if we get some sort of bullish PA here, this would line up very well with my thought process, right? We sweep the range low here, put in bullish market structure. We're within the weekly bullish order block. That's confluence for me to get long. That's the kind of stuff I want to see for the bulls, right? I'm not really interested in longing right here. Maybe we go up from right here. I do not care. I'm not interested in longing until we're at an area that I want to long at, right? So the way I see it is that area is in the lower part of this range. So from this low to this high, I want to see us move down to here and then potentially be interested in longing, right? So basically I want everything to pull back. Just like on Bitcoin, this could run these highs and then get back inside. It's totally possible. We have Monday's range here as well. So maybe the move up is shallow. I reckon if Ethereum moves back up to here, Ethereum will be trading, or Bitcoin will be trading above its high. And then maybe this just nukes. I'm watching this 12-hour range. I'm watching this low, which is Monday's low, which is below the 50%. And then I'm watching this low, which is this 12-hour range low. Some sort of sweep here and bullishness I would long. Some sort of sweep here and bullishness I would long. And just like on Bitcoin, if we break and close and hold below Monday's low, I'd be looking to short that down to here. So I don't care. I don't need to short here. We get the setup I like here. I'm going to have a stop defined, an entry defined, and a target defined. All the pieces of the puzzle right there. Obviously on the bullish side, we are in this weekly order block. So if I see something bullish happen at one of these lows, like I mentioned, we also have a 12-hour order block here. So this is something that could potentially be interesting, right? You have a low sitting right above a bullish order block. So maybe we come down into it and that would be your long trigger. But I'm going to wait and see. I'm not really in a huge rush to get into a trade based on what's going on this week with FOMC and things like that. I've had a very good week last week, catching the long side on both Ethereum and Bitcoin. So I don't need to be in a rush to force a trade right now with some huge announcement coming in 2 days. I can be patient, but I have clear defined areas of interest that I'm potentially looking at to trade, and I just chill and I wait in the meantime. So looking at Ethereum, looks like it's rolling over a little bit, right? You have this hourly bearish order block here, up candle before the down move that broke the low, retest, potentially selling off. So if we get to Monday's low, let's see how we react around there. CBS says, wait for people to say ETH is dead, then buy ETH. Wait for people to say it's going to flip BTC, and that's when you sell. Generally, that works pretty good. If you're watching on Twitter, we're already starting to see a lot of BTC maxis troll with the FBTC chart. You know, look at this fucking shitty chart. Well, look, within this price swing, we're now trading below the 50%. So I'm absolutely looking for reasons for this chart to bottom out somewhere below the 50%. Maybe it goes all the way to that previous range low. Okay, so we have this, and let's do this one. What you'll see here, right? We have this big high time frame range, and then we have this swing. I want to see price bottom in the lower half of this price swing, which is from here to here. That old range low, right, is within the lower 50%. Maybe we don't go that low, but I guarantee if we start trading down to here, this range low, everyone is going to start screaming how ETH is dead and it's all about Bitcoin and blah, blah, blah. And that will probably be the time to look for a potential reversal, but it's in the area of interest. I'm not looking to short this necessarily. I'm looking for this to actually bottom down here and then bounce. Doesn't mean it has to make a new high, but bounce. If I put my fib on here, there's your sweet spot. We just hit the 0.62 of this range. There's your 70.5. Your 79 is right at that range low there. So definitely something to watch. Okay, let's look at the dollar real quick here. So the dollar, as you guys know, right, we were tracking this move, okay, above this high. Said, okay, I think we trade down now. We initially had marked this breaker. I thought this might reject, but we tagged a little higher and it ended up coming up to this 12-hour OB, which is nice because that's in the upper part of the range, right? But looking at the dollar, right, we got the reaction I suspected. What I see now, potentially, we have a break in market structure here. We have this new price swing from here to here. So I'm looking for some sort of move up here to reject and then trade eventually to this low. So I don't know how high it will go, but I want to see some sort of move up and then a move down to this low. That's my bias on the dollar for now. We could have a very shallow pullback and then dump, but ultimately I think based on how the chart looks, based on market structure, that this is the next low. Right? This is the draw on liquidity. So if I know the draw on liquidity, if I believe the draw on liquidity is lower, I'm now going to look at USD based denominated pairs and for reasons to long. So if I think that the dollar might trade up a bit and then down, when it starts to roll over, I'm going to look at things like Euro USD and I'm going to say, okay, where can I get long this? Right? So if the dollar trades up initially, maybe this trades back into this 12-hour order block. And then if the dollar starts to roll over, I'll be looking for reasons to long this thing to these highs and maybe up into here. Right? So that's how you do that cross-market analysis. You guys remember I made that video on the gay line. I said below 30K and you are gay. We have been gay for 3/4 of 2023. It's a long time to be gay. It's longer than I've ever been gay. I have to respect the gay line. So like, even though I have a girlfriend, I'm still gay. Get back above 30K and hold. We can all go back to being straight and having girlfriends and just doing all that straight person stuff. If you want to. If you want to remain gay, that's your prerogative. No hate here. But under 30K, everyone is gay, mandatory. Below 30K, every single one of us is gay. I've been told I've got a voice and face for radio. Is this a rising wedge here, I guess? That's a circle. That is definitely not a wedge. I don't know. Maybe, bro. Anything is possible. So, Mark, what's up, bro? What are you doing with all my data? All my pictures on Facebook, my posts, my information. Who are you selling it to? The Chinese? You son of a bitch. Man, this guy keeps making new accounts and I just keep banning him. It's kind of hilarious. I found he made a Twitter too and he kept telling me I'm going to jail on it. So I had to block him there as well. The idea that he is there at his house, you know, in his mother's basement, neck beard, super fat, disgusting looking, a man but full of estrogen, probably has a little micro penis. That guy's gay. Even if we go above 30K, gay. And he's just sitting there. Mom, more Hot Pockets. Gotta make another account. He banned me again. Cheeto dust all over his chest. Just a disgusting image. I actually feel bad for the guy. You know, I really do. Because after this stream, I'm gonna go back into my $1 million condo, look out at the beautiful views. My super hot girlfriend's gonna come home. I'm gonna bang her, probably get a little high, watch a movie. And I'm gonna wake up tomorrow, rich and handsome, and make a bunch more money. There's levels to the game. This guy says he gets a... Hey, look, he's back. He's made another account. See, you'd be sneakier if you stopped making the account the same name. He said, I had a dream about doing certain things with you while you learn TA is useless. This guy's now having sex dreams about me. I told you he was gay.